Of course, talking about, the emerging threats and again, how things can deviate away from the classical, ransomware on the endpoint as we come to know, right? A lot of the things that organizations deal with as well are internal employees, just security awareness and training, right? And especially when you go out on a journey to either procure a solution or procure a training methodology internally, it can be just, drinking from a fire hose, especially with all the vendors out there, all the different suggestions, mechanisms, all that. Is there anything with Lumen that will kind of empower organizations and help their journey towards proper security awareness just be a lot less painful?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that I see with security awareness training is typically it tends to be sort of a compliance activity, right? And it's a bit of a check the box. Everyone has to go and attend the sort of the necessary evil once a year, once every 6 months, or whatever it might be. And the problem is that really doesn't do much to advance your security, right? You're really not reducing much risk. So we do have built-in security awareness training services, so you can do that. It is integrated within the platform. But the other piece that we do is to make it contextually relevant. So what I mean by that is you understand the role that the individual is taking the training might be, and you want to tailor the information to them. And we can do that in one of two ways. One, we're pulling that from a lot of the sort of publicly available threat feeds and threat information that we have access to. And the other thing we're doing is looking at their own environment and kind of saying, okay, look, here's where we see, right, the sort of the greatest risk. And so let's put a focus on that. And it's important to provide the context in two ways. One, to make sure that the simulations represent what they're going to see in the wild, right? Don't send them their streaming service said their credit card's been rejected and to click on the link to update their payment method. We want something that looks like legitimate, early stage business email compromise, or a way of targeting an executive like a spearfish kind of campaign to see if they can recognize it. And then the second part of it is to provide the kind of the context around the business itself. So one of the things that we'll do is tabletop exercises, as an example, to help them understand this is what it looks like. What kind of decisions do you have to make if you're under an attack? And that many of these decisions are not technical ones, even though they might start that way. So for example, if you said, a specific system like a banking system is under attack, should we disable internet access to stop the attack? That might be a wise thing to do from a technical perspective. But from a business perspective, that's going to create an outage that will become publicly aware. So are you ready for that? I'm not saying that's the wrong answer. What I'm saying is, are you prepared for the knock-on consequences? And, can you handle that? Are you going to proactively go to market and say, here's what we need to do about this? Or here's, yes, we're under attack. This is why we've taken these actions. Because the last thing you want to do is be behind the story, right? Write the story. Don't let other people tell the story. Otherwise, it's always going to be a bad day from that perspective. So we're really kind of giving them that holistic life cycle approach, not just every individual, helping them understand what their role is, but then looking at it from the business perspective. Okay, what's this look like when these things happen? How do they materialize? What does it look like? What kind of decisions do you have to make? What are the consequences of those decisions? We've seen it multiple times, many times. I've been through it. I've sat across the boardroom table during these kind of discussions and had to advise. And it's for those reasons that we sort of bake in that expertise to make sure that we're not just checking a box from a compliance perspective, but we're making them cyber attack ready.